I mean, I'm sorry, but was
Except New England won.
Was that the biggest choke in the history of football?
What are you talking about? When the Falcons and the Patriots played in the Super Bowl? You talking about that when they allowed the GOAT Tom Brady to come back and beat them? Yeah. I earned some mad respect for Tom Brady that day. I couldn't believe it. I think the Atlanta Falcons just got cocky. Go ahead, Daniel.
We're going to see how much of a GOAT Tom Brady really is now that he doesn't have a cheating head coach, allegedly.
Whoa!
And that stellar
this is
offensive
the Daniel
line.
we love.
Come on.
So but really though, think about it. He's going to Tampa Bay. Granted, we'll see what he does, but I don't think it's going to be the Tom Brady that we are used to seeing with the better team in New England.
So Trey Snyder, now you see why I gave Daniel Moore the nickname Friday Night Relentless Daniel, because he's relentless when he gets on this damn podcast here. It's a different side of Daniel Moore I've never seen before. He's very mean and vicious.
You got the professional side when I'm calling games, but podcasts are the gloves are off, as you would say.
Well, Daniel, I'm going to disagree with you on your Tom Brady statement. I think Tom Brady is going to have one more great year because he's on a 2-year contract with the Bucs. Second year it's probably going to be like his farewell season. But this coming year, when we do get on the field for football, I think the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to be a Super Bowl contender. And the reason why I say that is because Tampa Bay Bucs have 2 number 1 receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. The only person that Tom Brady can really throw to during his last year in New England was Julian Edelman. And Edelman was hurt some of the year. So Evans, Godwin, and they have a decent backfield too of Ronald Jones. I mean, there's the potential that the Bucs could make some noise and go on a Super Bowl run this year. We all know Jameis Winston had potential, but he threw way too many interceptions. But Tom Brady, he's a seasoned veteran. He knows how to get the job done. He can lead that team to a deep postseason run.
We'll see. I think one thing is going to be the offensive line. I don't know how their offensive line necessarily stacked, overall last year, but just like with the Panthers we talked about last week. Without a good offensive line, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do. Whether you're handing it off out of the backfield or trying to pass. If you don't have time, you don't have time.
Guys, I want to bring Trey Snyder in on this subject here, but Bruce Barrett, I'll let you finish what you were saying first before I go back to Trey talking about Cam Newton and the Panthers. Go ahead, Bruce Barrett.
Yeah, well, I was saying Edelman was, again, a great player on the field, but we got to remember, he also had Gronkowski.
Oh, yeah.
He was throwing to, and then when he got injured was it was just like, it's like taking a major piece. And I think all of those pieces of that puzzle, including Tom Brady, Edelman, and Gronkowski, and he had a pretty good offensive line, that was just a good team. Okay? So now we're going to see exactly how good Tom Brady is with a team that can be good. I think they had some problems at quarterback, at least, especially this past year. Winston, he only threw 30 interceptions. For crying out loud, that's unbelievable. But his completion rate to the defense was almost as good as his completion rate to the offense. But
probably better.
The fact is, we will see just how good Tom Brady is. And if Tampa Bay goes to the playoffs and they do well in the playoffs, whether they get to the Super Bowl or not, I think it'll be another feather that you can just say about Tom Brady. He's done then he would really earn the credit that he's been given.
Trey Snyder.
Well, he's got Bruce Arians as his head coach. And Wesley, you're familiar with Bruce Arians. He was on the Steelers staff for many years.
Yes, he's a good guy, good coach.
He was the head coach for the Cardinals. He turned Carson Palmer into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for a brief period of time. Man knows what he's doing over there. So that's a great coach he's with. Brady will have success this year.
Trey Snyder, what do you got to add to the subject, brother?
Program.
So, I should have talked before Brandon and Bruce over there because they kind of took the words out of the mouth. But, looking back at Tom Brady's career, obviously a Hall of Fame career, you look back and say, really, he didn't have a true number one since of Randy Moss. Yes, he had Gronk. That was obviously a huge piece, like Bruce said. But once he got hurt, and he was constantly hurt over his career, Tom Brady had to do what he needed to do to win. And what did New England do? They won. They're historic, one of the best all-time coaches.
They cheated. They cheated.
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, it's proven fact that they did. I mean, it's proven. Stats don't lie, and facts don't lie. But on the other end, you look at Tom Brady, where now, like Brandon mentioned, you have a Mike Evans, you have a Godwin, you have a good running attack, and what Bruce mentioned earlier about Jameis Winston, you kind of put in a guy that does not throw interceptions, one that is going to go from 30 interceptions down to possibly 5-6 interceptions on the year. And that's a decrease of 20, right at 24 interceptions. That's going to win you a ball game right there. But on the other end, under kind of the field wise, Jameis Winston also threw 5,000 passing yards and 30 touchdowns. If Jameis Winston, if you listen to any of my sports shows in the last 6 years, I am not a Jameis Winston fan. I think the antics off the field are just stupid, and it's time to move on. Let it go. Football-wise, he needs to get it together because he's a great football player, but he likes to take too many chances.
I think,
of course, you'd like that in a quarterback, but moving forward, you plug in Tom Brady with the Bruce Arians, with the Ronald Jones, a guy out of USC, the running back, a great young running back.
For sure.
You have two best receivers in the game, and then you look coming up in the draft, they're talking about them getting Jerry Jeudy from Alabama. You add Jeudy into that mix with O.J. Howard and the other tight end, I'm telling you, that team is gonna be stupid good.
I think honestly,
I don't want them to win because I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. If you didn't know, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. We'll get into Cam Newton here in just a second. I don't want them to win. But problem is, you add in Tom Brady with the Bruce Arians. I think that team is going to be, kind of a special team. And moving forward, it's going to be fun to watch him kind of finish career other than a cheating program in New England. It's going to be fun. Are they going to inflate are they going to give the people too much food? Are they going to inflate like Atlanta did with their crowd noise in the speakers?
Oh my goodness.
We just don't know. But he might bring his cheating ways over to Tampa Bay, which I'm perfectly fine with, because if they get caught, that means they just kind of get whatever. But, moving forward, on paper, it's a really good team.
Videogate. Mike Guerin, you're kind of the silent partner in all of this. Old school Mike, what is your take of it being a Tennessee boy in the Titans
did you know that
world?
every single word that Mike or that Wesley mentions about you is always the old aspect? We can get together. It's only going to be a few hour trip for you, and it's only an hour trip for me. We can make this happen, my friend. You just text me, call me, beat me, whatever you want to do. We can make it happen.
Did you say text me, call me, beat me? Is that what you said?
That's right.
Beat me.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, I've got a piggy tail with Daniel and Bruce.
That's the inside joke.
You knew I had to say it.
Oh God!
Yep. You knew I had to say it.
I said it earlier too.
We got piggy tails and helping stones.
I want to know what this piggy tail thing is all about. We were that we're in. I don't know what it's about.
You should have been here Friday.
You should have been here Friday night. Daniel, I'll let you tell the story. By the way, guys, I don't know if you can tell or not, my voice is just like, raspy hoarse. No, I do not have the CV.
You sound pretty terrible.
I don't have the CV.
Don't say the word.
I don't think I have the CV. What happened last night is I woke up sweating like a whore in Tijuana, and I really thought that I got scared for a second there. I did take my temperature, and it was like 99.1, so I was like hot. So I said, okay, I'm going to cut the air conditioner on. I cut the air conditioner on, and I think I fell asleep with it overnight on too long for it was like 65, 70 degrees, whatever. And when I woke up this morning, I was a little bit raspy. So I'm not sick. I'm fine. I feel good just having this raspiness in my throat. So, but Daniel, let everybody know the story
I think maybe
of Piggy Tail. Mike, what were you going to say? What are you going to? Hang on.
I was going to say, I'm thinking I'm thinking you're taking this Cam Newton news pretty hard. It's
No, believe me, I'm so glad that Cam Newton got his damn walking papers from the Carolina Panthers, and wherever he ends up going, bon voyage, whatever, Superman will go off to another place. But Daniel, let Trey Snide know how you got the nickname Relentless, Daniel Moore.
No, it's not. It's not a nickname. The Relentless. Okay, yeah.
Okay, but no, Piggy Tail. That's Piggy Tail.
I'm not really the Relentless. I guess is. I guess you see it another side of me, a more opinionated side,
bipolar.
More so.
You're bipolar. Just a very nice.
No. Maybe just undiagnosed. But so the piggy tail thing, I was trying to piggyback off of something that somebody said last week, and where I work in the automotive industry. I'm glad you brought this up because I've kind of been wanting to justify myself since Friday.
Okay, go ahead.
I work in the automotive industry, so the little connectors are called pigtails. Sometimes it's an old school name for it. So I guess that's what I was thinking, but that's where it come from. That's where I was going with it, I guess, and that's where
I just
the whole
figured you had a fetish for women with pigtails.
A CRN slogan.
You own it, brother. You own
it.
Hey, you got to have a nickname one way or another. It might as well be that. That's
well, I'll take Relentless over Piggy Tails.
Oh
anyway.
yeah, we're not going to call you. We're not going to call you.
If Piggy Tails is my nickname, I may.
If we call him Piggy Tail, he's
may have to back out.
The Relentless
we're
Piggy Tail.
We're gonna piss him off, y'all. The Relentless Piggy Tail might be a little bit better. Hey everybody, so this is CRN, the Roundtable. Trey Snide, just to let everybody know that's listening, and for those that are joining us on all of our podcast affiliates. And by the way, I said I would throw them out there. I'll throw them out real quickly. We are available, of course, at crnsports.org, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. And if there's any others that me and Trey can think of in our middle of the night, we wake up and jot it down in our sleep, we will. But Trey, just tell everybody why we created this podcast series amongst all of the great things we've done as we get ready to go into year number 4 when the fall comes, when we start covering football on CRN.
Well, it's a way for the reason why we kind of started this podcast. One, we kind of came up as a group, so it wasn't just me and Wesley itself, but we wanted a way to get away or get a talk away from everything, and it's been fun. I mean, stuff like this where the entire staff of CRN can come together and just hit. And excuse my French, of course, we're going to have the cussing emblem on our podcast here this evening.
It's on
just
explicit.
To shoot the shit.
Shit.
It's stuff like this is fun. I mean, it's fun. Yeah. And, we could talk about Tom Brady and nobody get pissed off. We could talk about Cam Newton, which we're going to have an argument here in just a second. I guarantee it. And, it's one of those things where it allows us to be able to get away. And with everything that is going on, businesses closing, local businesses closing, it's such a shame that the corporate things are thriving. And it's I feel terrible for not only my friends, but, local owners that are going through it, because once everything that is over, we don't know if they're going to be able to get back on their feet because of it. And so we wanted a place where our sponsors can get noticed. Where we can have a great time. Of course, the Raleigh Firebirds, that's going to be there next year, going on. A couple years that, and then the Clayton High School, we're going to be doing that again. I just had and if you missed the interview with Coach Lust, the baseball coach at Clayton High School, you missed a great one because he's passionate about what he does, but he's not just about baseball. He wants these kids to get a learning experience, and that's what he hates the most. Yes, every coach wants to compete, but when you lose seniors that can't really have a chance to go on and move in their career, and they won't be able to do that this year and improve on that, it's a crying shame. And we wanted a place for us sports fan in general just to get away and talk sports.
For sure.
Don't worry about all the mess going on, and don't worry about everything on the outside world. Focus on what we love doing, and that's sports. And once everything gets kicked back and ready to rock and roll, CRN's going to be right there. I'm looking forward to be able to get back out of the house. And the great thing about technology now